What's good? It's TheLetterLBeats, the University of Illinois. Art of Beatmaking Music, $4.99, popular music production. Also for BusyWorksBeats. I got a couple ways that basically ways to increase and decrease your intensity with sound design, and specifically in the verse. I think 7 different ways here. I'm gonna start with shaping. The reason I'm gonna start with shaping, I got this piano loop here. Something really simple, something monophonic. I'm going to start with the shaper just to kind of make it more interesting. And so I want to talk about, when I say shaper, something that shapes the sound, specifically when I'm using is Cable Guy Shaper Box. There's other things you can do, ducking things, some gating things. This is one of my favorite tools right now. And one of the reasons I like this because it kind of gives the loop a more defined beginning, middle, middle, and end. So. So I like that because it just spices it up a little bit. It gives it a little bit, when we're talking about building intensity, it makes it feel a little more energetic. One thing I could talk about with that shaper, one thing that also helps build intensity, they have this little mix button, this little mix dial that kind of tells you how much you want to affect that loop. I'm going to move to the next way that you can build the intensity, a sweep or an effects loop. We'll go for something like this. So I'll go for something like that and kind of stretch it out. And maybe quantize it. The illusion of kind of having a big part in the beginning and kind of settling in. I'm gonna try to reverse them and see, what effect that gives it. Same kind of thing. I might even try this. Stretch it out across the whole loop. Bit of a build-up effect. Also something I like to try in Reason, this little noise percussion loop. Oh yeah, one of these, like a drop sound at the beginning. So something like that gives it that effect. Filter automation. If you're taking my class, you should know how to automate in your DAW. Take the loop and you automate the filter points just to give it an effect of a build-up or a breakdown. Forwards and backwards, I guess, for each point. I like to draw it in when I'm in Reason. Switch it and reverse it. Especially as an early producer, it's hard to know when to stop adding instruments, right? And so these are some ways that you can provide some change up without necessarily adding a bunch of instrumentation. So let's see. We did the filter automation, the shaper. Let's go with the octave contrast next. All we're gonna do is just, lower one of the octaves of these. can reverse them, switch them up and see what that does. Again, we're talking about that verse and building intensity from the first half to the second half, or decreasing intensity. So maybe to give it like a smaller feel. Yep. You can do it in reverse. Okay, so coming back to the pan, sometimes I use panning to get things out of the way or to get things moving. A lot of times I don't do that with the lead. I guess we're kind of looking at this as the lead for the verse. But sometimes I might pan it like the end of the second or fourth. It gives it just like a little element of change up or movement. You know what I mean? With automation. Boom. Done. Arpeggiator. Let me try. Reason has an arpeggiator, like a natural one. Let's see. I like that. And I want to add to that, here's another thing I'm using from Cable Guys is halftime. That can also kind of do the same thing. Let's play around with the reverse and see how they can help build the intensity. And reverse tends to be an audio editing thing, so I want to bounce this to wave data. And so sometimes I like to start by touching up these eighths on a reverse, and just seeing how it sounds and kind of rounding things out. I like how that sounds. And I'm just experimenting. So if you saw my earlier videos about sequencing and transitions, these are just quick ways you can not only build intensity, but then it transitions you from, from part to part. Like, this part here is an indication of, the smaller breakdown from the first half, and this is the bigger breakdown from the second half. So, All right, so hopefully that covered it. That was the reverse. This is the letter L Beats with the University of Illinois, the Art of Beatmaking, music, $4.99, popular music production, and BusyWorksBeats.com. Ways to increase and decrease intensity with sound design in your verse. First half and second half. Hope that helps.